that'd be great.
Armina will bring it up.
Great, thank you, Armina. Okay. We called the meeting to order. Number two, do we have any public comment on non-agenda items?
No public comments were received.
Okay, thank you. And minutes from our last meeting, which was on November 30th. Do I have either a motion or any questions or corrections?
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Minutes are approved unanimously, and we're on to agenda item B, which is information items. We have two, and the first one is Serafian project update.
All right, well, welcome everyone. I've got Chris here with me today. We're going to provide a brief overview of where we're at with Serafian. Let me share my screen. There we go. All right, Chris, why don't you walk us through the update?
Sure. So good afternoon, committee members. Happy Friday to everybody. So I'm here today to report on the Armin Serafian progress so far. So currently, as of today, we're 25% way through the project with a substantial completion date of April 3rd, 2024. So if you've been on campus recently, you'll see the steel structure up, and we had the steel topping out ceremony. But our next major current construction milestone targets is to, we've poured half of level 3 deck this week, and we'll get the other half next week on 119. We plan to have all concrete poured to all floors and roof by the end of March this March. And once we do that and get the slab on grade going, we can then start the exterior envelope. And we're planning to get that started also sometime in March of this year. As you're well aware, with the adverse wet weather we had these last couple of weeks, it has impacted us, mainly to the underground plumbing works on the ground floor. We got absolutely saturated. On Thursday, we recorded 5.5 inches of rain on site. So there's a lot of dewatering going out. But unfortunately, the site is a good site for soil conditions, and it is drying out quickly, but we have had some minor delays with that. But we'll look at ways to reschedule activities so we can get back on track. The next thing I do want to bring to your attention, right throughout the construction industry, we're having supply chain issues. And right now, so the electrical switchgear and transformers, we still don't have a ship date for that. But we're monitoring that closely. And once we do have a ship date, we can then see exactly what impact it may have to the project, and we'll reschedule activities to try and help compensate. That's it for the Serafian. I don't know if you've got any questions or anything.
I was just gonna comment, for me personally, this is deja vu all over again. We started our apartment project here in Pasadena fall of 2021, over a year ago, and we hit December rains, and we got washed out by the rain. And on our project currently, we also, our single supply chain issue is our electrical switchgear.
Right.
And ours is coming in March or April, but that's been a headache for all construction projects.
Yeah, that and the air handlers, that's what we're monitoring closely. We're even considering maybe bringing in the air handlers without, it's a chips that's really affecting the air handler units, you know, the components of that. So we're even thinking we might be able to bring the air handlers in themselves and then come in and fit the chips later. But we need to look at the warranties and everything else that may be affected with that.
And we're using individual mini split units in each apartment unit, so we don't have the big air handling. Right. So we didn't have to deal with that issue. Yeah. But I'm familiar. Yeah. Any other questions on Serafian before we move on to Galloway? All right, let's keep going. Thank you.
So for the Galloway Plaza, the concept, I believe in your last facility committee, you approved or made motion to accept the concept design. So we're moving forward with that. Right now, we're reviewing the best way to bid the project, if we're going to go design bid build or design build. So we're in discussions with the district with that right now, and we'll let you know the best way forward, what we think. But while that's going on, we've completed our subsurface utility investigation works. So we know what's in that area and what utilities we have to relocate or can connect to. And on Monday, we're going to do the geotechnical boring for the building as well. So things are moving forward. So and that's it for Galloway. And any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, hold on, let me turn that one on. I think you had some pictures. You want to walk through the pictures, Chris?
Yeah, if you have them there, Candace. It's just a summary of the recent events. So that was the steel topping out ceremony. The next one, that was Thursday there with the water, and it got up so high, it got into onto the ground floor slab and then flooded all the plumbing trenches we had going on in there, as well as a few other things.
Chris, are you dewatering? And by that I mean, are you pumping the water out?
Yeah, we pump it and then we filter it and then we put it into a storm drain system.
Yeah, understood. We had to do the same thing a year ago.
Yeah, no, it's as I said before, the site is lucky. It's very good draining conditions. The soil here, it's a very silty sand, so it does dry out quickly. But yeah, when you get that amount of rain at one time, it's just too hard and too much to handle. And this was on Wednesday when we did a concrete pour to level 3, half of it. And the next one, Candace, and that's starting to finish that slab. And I think we've got one more picture and that's just a progress of it overall from the east elevation. So the project's running well. I'm pleased with the progress so far. So we just got to keep it going and hopefully not get too much more wet weather.
Okay.
Okay. So that's it for my presentation. If you get anything else.
Thank you. Any further questions on that? None for me. Okay, thank you, Chris.
Okay, thank you, folks. I'll sign out.
All right, yeah, have a good weekend.
You too.
Right, next.
Okay, so
Yep.
yeah, let's move on to agenda item 2, which is the oversight committee.
All right, so if you all recall in our December study session for the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, one of the action items for us to do was to certify the election results, which you will see that on our board agenda for the 18th. So we need to certify the election, and then within 60 days, we have to seat a Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. I walked through with what we need. We've got to have an application. I would love to show that today and get some feedback from you all. We've got a draft rubric that I'd love to show and get feedback. We've got the draft announcement that'll go out into the community, as well as the website. So I just want to walk through those 4 pieces. So this, we made the form just a simple Google form where somebody can come in. The application deadline is going to be February 15th because we have to seat them before March 18th. So we want to give some level of time for the committee, this body to look at the applications and score, and then make a recommendation to the board as to which members will be seated. These are just for the positions that are required by the code. So each trustee, if you recall, through our bylaws, each trustee gets to appoint a member from their area themselves. So each of you will be able to appoint a member from within your district boundaries. And so those 7, you all get to choose those individually. And then these seats are the ones that we need to use the rubric to make some decisions. Now, that doesn't mean if you wanted to use the form to do some assessment based on your own areas, that's totally fine too. But it's really how you want to describe that process for your selection. But basically,
Okay, so the form doesn't need to be used for the 7 individual selections by the trustees. This is for the what I'll call the at-large.
correct.
Okay, thank
Well,
you.
technically, the at-large are your selections because they're not required by code. But yes, you will nominate and appoint a member from your area. And you do not have to use the form for that.
And Candace,
please.
is it required that each trustee, does their appointment need to be from their district or even from within the PCC district?
It's not required by code, because remember,
Okay.
those are at law, but the intention, the spirit behind the appointments would be that they would be living in district boundaries. But it's not required by code.
Understood.
All right, so a candidate will come in and just submit their first and last name, their email, all of their contact information, their home address. That'll help us figure out where they live within the boundaries. Whether they're currently by law, they have to be over 18. If you recall, they cannot be an employee of the district. And so we want to ask the question to make sure if they're currently an employee, an official of PCC, a vendor or contractor or consultants. Remember, there would be a little bit of conflict there. They are to provide an open-ended response about providing a brief description on why they would like to be considered for an appointment to the Citizens Bond. So this is their ability to express to you all why they're interested. They are going to share whether or not they have any special skills. And so these are common areas that we look for: finance and accounting, architecture, engineering and construction, public administration or educational administration and other, and they can describe what their other qualifications could be. A candidate could have multiple, right? They could have experience both in finance and accounting and architecture, engineering, and construction. And so they have the ability to select multiple options. Then they need to give us a little bit more detail about their relevant experience. So as a member of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, which may include public or private experience, that's okay. If you selected a specialized knowledge area above, please use this section to share additional information. So here's where they can describe: I've got 20 years construction experience. I'm currently working as an architect. I'm currently an administrator at this entity and have the experience necessary to help give some guidance on expenditures. We included just an image of the district boundaries, just so folks understood that. And then whether or not they want to be how they want to be represented, if they want to represent a particular area. So we're required by code, local community, business, senior citizens organizations, a taxpayer organization, or a PCC student. Again, a candidate may come in and have multiple affiliations. And so that might be a way that if you have two really great candidates in one category, but you have another category that one of these candidates fills, you may be able to fill the second spot with that candidate. A PCC student. We just listed trustee area 1 through 7 in hopes if you wanted to use this as your process, you have the ability to do so. And then other, if they wanted to describe something else that they wanted the committee members to know, and then they submit. Comes in a Google sheet for you all. I'll prep those and then get them out for you all for review. I'm going to briefly walk through now the.
And Candace, let me just interrupt briefly. Christine, my screen just froze and it said my internet connection is unstable. So if you guys lose me, I'm going to hand the gavel over to you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
That's fine.
Carry on, Candace.
All right. So now let me get the rubric up. Again, these are drafts, so I can also get them out to you all if you want to. take a peek at them in greater detail. We have time to make adjustments to either the form, so I'll make sure that I get all the information to Armina, who will be able to share that out with you all. So you can take a peek if there are any edits that need to be made before we announce the committee application process in next week. All right, so now go ahead. Yes, please.
I think out in the community, when I've been just meeting the public, I think you might want to, did I see some information about how often they're going to meet? I think people might want to know what's their time commitment, the location, how many people, things like that. They need to determine whether they have the time to do it.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think let's brainstorm on how we include that in the website. I think when I show you that in just a second, I think that might be a great place for that to land.
Remind me how many people, how many members, how many bodies are on this committee?
11.
Oh, okay. And at least 7 from the trustees appointees.
That is correct.
So four members from the community.
That is correct. That is correct.
How are you going to advertise and do outreach in addition to a website?
Yay. Can I hold on that one? I'll cover that last.
Okay.
Because so we've got the application. Here is the scoring rubric that I'm suggesting. I'll get this out to you, but it's a simple rubric in terms of, let me minimize this real quick. 20 points possible. If you remember the application, there are these different sections. There's a statement of consideration, and you will give a score from 1 to 5. Knowledge of Pasadena City College, I would expect that to come through in their statement. You can give, again, 1 to 5. This is that relevant experience. So 1 to 5, whereas the applicant hasn't shown any relevant experience, to applicant may have 2 or more specialized experience areas. Might help you, as people are ticking off, their relevant experience, you can give additional points to folks who have multiple skill sets. And then organizational representation. So whether or not they live within the district boundaries. So technically by law and by code, they are not required to. As Anne shared at the board meeting, the spirit of the intent is that folks who are participating in the CBOC live within district boundaries. It's not required though. So the student, for example, she gave the great example. You may have a student who is a PCC student who does not live within district boundaries. That is okay. But what we're trying to do, what I at least tried to draft the rubric for, was to give a little bit more points to those who do live within district versus those who do not. Does that make sense? So I'll get this out to you all so you can take a peek at it. And if we want to make some adjustments, I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. One, because I think ease of use is something that will allow you all to get through the applications fairly quickly. But I will send it out. And so if any adjustments need to be made, either to the scoring, you may, whatever, however you want to adjust it, it is, your purview to do it, because you all have to just be on the same page about how you're going to score the applications as they come in. So I'll get this out to you as well. The next
question, Candace, sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay.
There. So you mentioned earlier that, there are the few categories that are required by law, by code, for us to appoint within those categories. One quick thought is that maybe, I know it's in the rubric, but maybe if that's emphasized a little bit more to make sure we are ticking off each of those boxes.
Sounds great.
And then my other question is that by law, within 60 days, it's those required positions that we have to fill. But if we take a little longer with the trustee areas or anything like that, that's permissible.
It's permissible, but you couldn't then meet until you either said you're not going to fill the position, right? Because we have to be able to establish quorum.
Of course.
Or, if there was an action that needed to be taken. It is still really early. I mean, remember, the CBOC really won't meet probably until potentially 2024. I mean, after we're really expending bond proceeds. So So, you know, we have time if you wanted to hold on that. We just couldn't host a meeting. And the first meeting will largely be again, what are your roles and responsibilities? We do that that same sort of study session that we did with the trustees, we would do with the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let me show you the draft website. I think this would be a great location for some of those pieces. And so the announcement that I'll share in just a second will drive individuals both to the website and to the application. So it's just Measure PCC, our Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. This is where the committee will report out. This will be the page used to, post the annual reports and things like that. So we have a very strong visual here to get people to apply. This just gives all the language around our bond, a link to our facilities master plan, and then you see our normal agendas, minutes, bylaws, resolutions, our membership we will include here, and then the documents in the report that they are required to do annually. What we could do is highlight and focus in on the application process up front. And those pieces that you mentioned, Christine, around, expectations, how often, the how often question, we could give some generalizations, but the committee is really going to determine how often they meet, but we could give some general guidelines of what we've seen in the past, what the time expectations are, so that they're aware of that up front. Is there anything else that you would suggest that we cover here?
That's really great. I love this website.
Yeah, it looks pretty comprehensive. I can't think of anything else.
My only comment is the application. Oh, there you go. I was going to say there should be like an apply now in a big red box with an exclamation. And then as I was saying it, oh, there it is.
Yes, yes. Awesome suggestion.
And then Candace, where are you going? If after you click the apply now box, are you going to indicate the qualifications that we're looking for? Where are you going to talk about those?
That's a great suggestion. Qualifications, I'm writing that down.
Well, and I'm just following up on Christine's comments. So everything that she said should be stated, the expectations, your qualifications, the time commitment. What else, Christine? That you just mentioned it.
Duration.
Yeah, duration.
I think that's great. I think we could surface that higher up here during the application period and have something really prominent on this first page that describes those pieces. So I know Alex is listening in. He and his team were responsible for this wonderful work. So I know I'm taking notes as well. So we'll turn that around so that it's very visible, since that's kind of our first phase of the project. We'll make sure that that's front and center here.
Yeah, good. If we have that, I think this is comprehensive.
Okay, we'll send it out to you all as well, just so, if you miss something or if we miss something, that you have the ability to take another peek at it. And then the last piece that I'll share and show is the announcement that we've teed up for the various publications. Alex, did you want to share the publications that you're thinking about sending this out to?
I'm happy to. I just dropped it in the chat for you, Candace, the list of folks that we typically talk to, but I can go over that.
Oh,
right
it's
now
okay.
like.
I didn't see that. So I know that you're in trenches. It's okay. I will read that out in my best Alex Buckelheim voice. So he has planned to send out to the LA Times, Pasadena Star News, Pasadena Now, Beacon News, South Pasadenan, Pasadena Weekly, Pasadena Black Pages, and other local weeklies and online outlets with a focus on ethnic media. If you all have suggestions, you're welcome to send those our way, and then we will make sure that those things are included. But the announcement is fairly straightforward. We're seeking applicants for our Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. Alex, as our PIO, is the contact, as well as just a brief statement of the committee, which is also on the application. So this is the same content that's on the application, a link to the form, when it's due, and then a little bit about Pasadena City College.
You know, on this, I don't want to make it any longer than it already is. But having said that, I think the same information that Christine described, some of that should be on this, like, you know, we're seeking people with these experience. The committee will meet quarterly. I know the Measure P tended to meet quarterly.
Right.
Just give some expectation of what we're looking for and some expectation of the commitment.
I think that's awesome. You've got a thumbs up from Alex.
Yeah, briefly, you've already got a lot going on here, so
Yeah.
I don't want to make it too much longer.
Yeah. Would it be okay if we do that brief blurb and then we can also, for additional information about the qualifications and, you know, that we can then point them to the website as well? We can kind of give some context and then get them to where they need to be.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Wonderful. I will get this out to Armina, who will get that to you all. Are there any other questions related to our process?
And just to be double check, Candace, so those applications will come in by mid-February, and then we will review it as a committee. And I assume based on our scoring, we will send recommendations to the full board to adopt.
At a board meeting, yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Okay, awesome. That sounds good. Do we have any further business? Well, I would ask, do we want to set a talk about when we need to meet again, this committee? We want to meet as frequently as you need us to, so that we don't slow down your processes for your construction under progress and your projects in planning.
We don't have anything teed up as it relates to an action item that we need on the district side. I would say that, though, making some commitment for you all meeting, you know, to review the applications would be probably the most important thing to happen next.
Okay, and the applications are due again by
February 15th.
So we should meet ASAP after February 15th. Let's take this is a small committee. Let's just look at our calendars and see what works. And Alton, I know you prefer a meeting that is outside of normal business hours, correct?
Well, 4 p.m. or later is good with
4
me.
p.m. or later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything
All right.
earlier, I get in trouble.
Yeah, understood. So, okay. So let's go to February.
So I'm assuming it'd be the week of the 20th, but not that Monday because that's President's Day.
Yeah. Yes.
Our college is actually open on Monday, the 20th, just so you know.
Okay.
Should have known.
So, and this would be at 4 p.m. or later. Let's just see. Any day that week works for me at 4 p.m. or later.
The only day that doesn't work for me is Thursday.
Thursday the 23rd.
Yes.
Any other day? Let's do it this way. Any other days that don't work?
For me, I cannot do Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or Monday. So Tuesday.
Okay, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
That narrows the scope. Is Tuesday the 1st work for everybody? Okay, so we'll meet again on Tuesday the 21st at 4 p.m.
Okay.
Okay.
And I will
Okay.
package the applications to you all. So when the application closes on the 15th, I will then send to you all as the folks who are going to score with the rubric, so that between the 16th and the 21st, you all have an opportunity to review the applications on your own and score them on your own. So then it may help expedite the process through the conversation on the 21st.
Yeah. Okay, very good. And I think that concludes our business, correct?
Hmm.
All right, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay. Meeting adjourned unless anybody has anything else to cover. All right, and we'll see some of you at 4:30.
Be safe driving in.
Thanks, everybody.
Trustee Chen Lao says she might be a little late,
Okay,
but she'll be there. She'll
Yeah.
be here tonight. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
okay,
Bye-bye.
we'll see you
Bye, guys.
shortly. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.